Depressive state and you're thinking about pulling the power cord out of your head. That's how it works. So addictions are good if they're growing and if there's a date for them to end. Because I get more excited about absolutely nothing. I get the codes when I see that my cervical spine starts to curve towards that thing, and that starts to change my life. I say time is over, I need new vices. Last year my visa was the car race, that year is aviation, and then every year I change it because you get so excited about it you never leave it again. You zoom in until a zoom. There are two types of zoom. We have one. This word here is important for you to know. Zoom is a zoom that gives the detail, and there is a zoom out that removes the detail and shows everything. When you have an addiction and this addiction is generating new energy within you, you zoom in and you don't want to leave there. One day I told my grandson, I said, Natio, don't stay excited about this racing thing, because otherwise everything in your life will turn around. This will be it. Then you ask the driver 1 by 2 by 3 by 4 by 5 by 6 by 10 by 20 by 30 by 40, and then you make money with it. Dude, no. You ask everyone how many states, 30, 35, 40, and then the guy says, that's it here. It stung me. What has to sting you? Wisdom, prosperity and wealth. Anything that takes you out of a bad emotional state sometimes lifts you up, and that you stop making gains, you stop growing with that. That will become your new self. What do we have to do? I find a way to beat any animal, everything seen is a trigger, and I need to discover the trigger of this addiction, how it started, and then there are the details. There is an environment, there are the people who caused it, or the person has a date. There is the first time or the first times you will remember that it was configured in your head, and being in the account of leaving now. There is a way to hack it. There is a way for you to give new meaning. There's just one detail. There's no way I can change it and go into a white hole. There's no way I can let go of this without making an exchange for something. What's the problem with the brain? He thinks like that. No, this is for your good. Imagine convincing yourself to do this. So your brain is like a small child, despite thinking you're a super adult. Okay, the person gets angry at you. Yes, you're always childish. You get angry at others. You say, I won't forgive you if you are very childish. I can continue. Assume there is how to mature this. So the childish brain needs to do what it needs to do. What we do it with a child. You want to drink something from a child. Offer something else and he will take his focus off of that and take this. People say, I can't stop drinking soda. The ideal is simple. Replace it with something. He has to know what next. I'm having a loss here in quitting this, but there's a gain. Something else is right. It accompanies you. Then you need to follow the route of habit, which is an addiction. If you've never fallen into any drug addiction, for example, the person can put their career on for you to use cocaine. You can use any type of synthetic drug, whatever it is. Do you have any temptation with it? Yes or no? If we see a N.T. Barrett, you will write the code for temptation. Temptation is only in what I build a neural trail. You won't be tempted in what you haven't built. Fall into nonsense, not even out of curiosity, because you're going to install neural islands, and these islands have thousands of trails. There are several headless neurons that are formed and then reach a new body, and it is a nickname, right, to say that it is a neuron head, and then you start to have things that you never had your whole life. So pay attention, because it's temptation. Islands that I myself activated, things that you don't have at all. There are people who have never been real moneymakers. You can go ahead, you can say that they will be corrupt. The person doesn't care about this. It's not their temptation. For example, if a person spends their whole life watching pornography, they spend their whole life not respecting people when it comes to sexual issues. This will become their problem. They can sanctify it, they can go to church to do it. She may not meet Jesus in person. That's her temptation, so that's going to be part of it. Someone says, no, so and so. He's trustworthy, he's a Christian, he's a believer, so I'll say it, boy. The only difference I know between a Christian and an atheist with the same sin that the person has is that the guy who isn't a believer takes anyone, the Christian he selects. Only the people of God is the only difference that I see, because the brain is the same. There are people who say not man of God, but I speak more the man of God, and the devil pays attention. So don't get these labels of not here we are. There's no such thing. The temptation will continue, and temptation means what I've already invested, and then you say I wanted to take out an investment. There's no way that created a trail, and then unless someone erases your memory you can do it, but if it doesn't you'll give it new meaning. I'll explain that you want to give new meaning. Pay attention to this drawing here. You want to go through here. Here's a river. It without getting wet. There are people who say like this, I'm going to do it, I'm going to dry the river so it passes. There's no need, you're going to do it here, just take it. Build it, let me put it in white here. You're going to take the pillars of the bridge, you're going to build the modules and go over it. I need to erase the river, I need to dry the river, I need to do something with myself. No, I need to build a bridge, and then you will write like this. Oh, resignification is a bridge. Oh, what do I do with this resignification? I'm at that point. It seems that I can't get to this point B, but here is the bridge. These pillars here is what supports this resignification. These pillars I'm going to put the initial letters here. First pillar is God, where the fear of all wisdom begins. Then people who have authority in this and then practice this parade model. People with authority connect with the Creator, so you can ask Him for this grace. These are the pillars of the bridge, and then you come with ours. In short, until you cross this bridge, the addiction continues to be the river. Now you can do it, go over the river without having contact with it. Samson was a guy who had a vow called the vow of Nazarite. He couldn't cut his hair, he couldn't touch the dead, and he couldn't drink alcohol. Brings three things that were very simple in his life. He didn't. I could do that. It was given to me, consecrated before I was even born. What did he do? He did everything to be close to these places. Not like tying my hair like that. Then he walked around the cellars smelling the wine, and this Samson was working on something. There's a problem. What do you have to do? You have to build a bridge, because imagine how much _ you've done in your life, and the things you've done have always made you dirty. At least one kidney can be washed. Now imagine mud. You know what? It's the fact that I send the things that most convince me to leave addictions behind, giving new meanings and switching to other things. It was the amount of energy I lost in my life. The addict, he takes a lot of damage. So I'm addicted to gambling, which I realized, man, no, does it make sense for someone to spend a lifetime playing 1 hour, he wins 10 hours, 10 times he loses another time. He wins 20 times, he loses. Then you start to analyze the scenario. The guy just loses. And then we have to understand there are people who are addicted to game. There are people who are addicted to television. There are people who are addicted to watching other people's lives. There are people who are addicted to gossip. There are people who are addicted to Coca-Cola. There are people who are addicted to drugs. There are ways. They are addicted to sex. There are people who are you addicted to clowning. Are there people who are addicted to politics? Tell me a good addiction you have. Write it down in the comments. What's the worst addiction you have? Long, but everything will be fine from time to time. Some people say no, that's nonsense. So and so smoked for 90 years, right? He smokes for 90 years. It's not his lungs, it's normal, he escaped. Everything else is screwed, but he uses statistics that will it. Won't work out in his life, then his mouth will drop and then he'll start having to tear the pieces off his face, and the person doesn't believe that this will happen. That you want addicted to food, you don't want to eat the food you are eating the emotion. Those are emotions that it is a destructive addiction. Note that it means escape from emotional state. I can't bear to govern that moment. My emotional I need to escape from it. Interesting. I was stuck in pornography for 20 years and I thought the following when I got married. It didn't help. I created a business. I'm not going to take advantage of this train here. I could forgive God. I wouldn't change and I stayed my whole life. Say no now, it will work. I said no when I get married. In short, it hasn't changed. It's been 20 years. It's been 2 decades in this business. You talk normally, you get the statistics. 43% of the world's traffic on the internet is pornography. So for every 10 parts that are visited, at least 4 to 4.3 are pornography pages that are happening today. The rate of perversion is much higher because people don't even want to deal with it, but depending on the time of day, for example, on the UOL website, I don't know if we've already noticed this. You watch it, read the news, it's something after 10 o'clock at night. Other topics start to appear at midnight. It goes like this. People report that it's very good. You have a trisel, then you say what it means to trisser, something about smile. That's all you can do. Then you click. It's worth a subject. It's not more than you imagine. It's common. It's a couple of 3 people. Then you get crazy. Man, what's this? Then it starts. Men, that's it. Men don't understand that. Then you read the news. You start changing your brain. Man, you're crazy. There. As something I'm addicted to is to prosper, and then I created another video. I want to see a lot of poor people like me. I'm waiting for this is another video that I have. When you become a manager of your life, you will realize that it doesn't compensate for the vices that you carry. It doesn't compensate. I have one addiction speaks, and people take advantage because if I don't set a target on my heart, I spend 6 hours in a lecture that was supposed to speak for just 1 hour.